What's up, homies? My name's Daniel, and today I am going to talk about being in my liminal era. And now you might be asking yourself, Danny, what the fuck does that mean? What are you saying? The answer to that is that I don't actually know, and I'll be figuring it out in real time as I record this video. So, when I mean liminal era, I'm mostly talking about the fact that right now I'm kind of in a weird spot in life. I feel like things aren't exactly bad, but they aren't exactly good either. I'm just kind of existing. And I was this whole week I've kind of been just thinking a lot. I've been a little bit sick, so I haven't really been working out or going to jiu-jitsu practices. So I've had a lot more time just kind of listen to music and just kind of think, I guess. And I feel like I get this kind of every year, kind of different times, different stages of the year, but this isn't really something new, and it's kind of like a pattern I'm noticing in myself. Last year around the same time, it was kind of the same thing. Most of it has to do with I'm kind of just artistically, creatively not really there, but I like to draw, I like to play instruments, but I've been really busy, and so I haven't really had time to play instruments in a long time, honestly, since way at the beginning of last year, almost. And then with drawing, it's been kind of a weird experience where I think since I graduated, a lot of my drawing time and animating time had been kind of when I was in the middle of a Zoom class or something, or I was watching a video for class, and I would just use that time to draw. And so since I don't really have that anymore, it's kind of harder to have that time. So it could be that, but I just feel creatively, I feel like some of that spark is a little dormant. But the same thing kind of happened last year, and then it got me kind of thinking, I've kind of said this on Twitter before, but it had never really almost caught on with me. I was saying the words, but they weren't really having any meaning in my head until now. But nothing really blooms year round. I can't expect myself to almost be at 100% in every facet. And that's not to say that other things, because obviously right now my workouts are going crazy because I'm just going nonstop. And I'm probably in the best shape I've been in a long time, even though I work out all the time anyways. But in other areas, I'm kind of just, it's a give and take kind of scenario. And so nothing can really bloom year round, and I can't really expect myself to either. I guess winter time is just kind of almost a little dormant era. And I'd kind of forgotten it a little bit, just because the past 2 years I'd gone to Colombia to visit family in Florida, over Christmas and my birthday and everything like that. And I think having that little break from winter definitely almost revives me creatively, spiritually, mentally, and all that. And this winter hasn't been rough at all. We haven't really had much snow. It's been really warm, and it's kind of weird for Alaska. But I've still been here, and with the darkness, because where I live, at least, up until December 21st, my birthday, there's probably 4 or 5 hours of light. It's not as bad as up in the north of Alaska. There's this town that used to be called Barrow that's now called Utqiagvik. They straight up have the whole 6 months no light thing, and I would lose my mind there. But here it's not as bad, but it still definitely probably affects me. But going back to what I said at the start, it's not I'm not depressed. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm depressed or anything like that, because I don't really like when people kind of throw that around lightly, because I'm not unhappy, but I'm also not thrilled, exhilarated. It's almost I'm bored. I'm passively just kind of existing. It kind of reminds me of I want to say it's True Love Waits by Radiohead. I think there's a line that goes I'm not living, I'm just passing time. And I am living. It's not that exactly. I'm living, I'm doing things. But it does kind of feel like I'm passing time, which adds to that like liminal era kind of idea. But like I was saying, like I think it's just like it's a cycle, I guess. Like in winter, I almost like lie dormant a little bit. I retreat into the deepest depths of my being and my soul and everything. And then like summertime especially is when I feel like life is just really fun and things are happening and everything, which makes sense like now that I think about it. Like I don't know why I hadn't seen that before, or I guess I had actually, because part of this whole like liminal thing is like I kind of realized that as I was like tweeting some stuff out, I realized I had tweeted the same exact things out like last year, about like noticing patterns, and there was some other stuff that I tweeted out, and I was like, oh my god, like literally exactly a year ago I was tweeting the same things, and I did not learn my lesson whatsoever on that. But I guess this time I'm kind of noticing it a little bit more, noticing the patterns. And I guess the biggest thing is like, I don't know, I've seen a couple different people that I know, like, and I kind of talk about that idea that they're like a little burnt out, a little tired. And I think maybe that's just like, you just have lows sometimes. Like you can't just expect yourself to be at 100% all the time. Like I know last week I talked about just doing the whole indomitable human spirit and pushing through and giving 110% thing. And like, that's a nice thought. And I do still kind of hold that in high regard and try to kind of embody that. But you also have to kind of be a little realistic at times and know that like you need to take a break. Like this week I haven't really worked out or done anything because I've been kind of like sick. Part of it is because I messed up my sleep schedule on Saturday because I stayed up until like 7 a.m. playing Crusader Kings for me. Any other people at like the hyper autism games, but I screwed up my sleep schedule, and I have just kind of felt really like exhausted and tired the whole week. But my brother's also sick, so I think that's part of it. And so like I could say like I don't have a fever, I don't have a cough or anything like that. I'm just kind of tired and push through that. But like realistically, I need to let my body rest. And I guess I'm pretty good about that day to day, week by week. But I hadn't really noticed that like it's like also a yearly thing, you know, like some seasons I'm going to be a little low, a little tired, less creative. I'm not going to be able to draw a lot or animate a lot because I'll also be busy. Because that's another thing, like I'm pretty obsessive when it comes to whatever I'm doing. So I don't like to just play like half an hour of Crusader Kings. I like to literally sit there for 12 hours until it's all of a sudden it's like 7 a.m. and I realize that I fucked up my sleep schedule. Or like with my drawings or animations, like my creative process isn't just kind of like chip away at it constantly. It's more of like I'm completely engulfed by this thing I'm creating, and I think that's fine, but it doesn't work year round like that. I'll be more busy sometimes than other times. And then I think I was thinking about it earlier today as well, but part of it is also just like a nostalgia thing. Like, cause I was looking back, like the last couple years, like I was saying earlier, I had gone to Colombia and Florida to visit family. And obviously that breaks up the monotony. It makes things a little more interesting, especially last year was a lot of fun. I got to go to some really cool places that I hadn't gone to before in Colombia, like Cartagena, and I hung out with a bunch of cousins for New Year's and El Peñon and all that, and that was super fun. And then I got to visit my dad in Florida for a little bit. But like after that, it was kind of just that same kind of like liminal feeling. Part of it, I think, is a little bit of nostalgia because last year when I was in that liminal kind of mentality era, like I am now, I was feeling the same thing. Like I wasn't there creatively. I felt like my art was kind of taking a hit, and I was being kind of like judgmental on how I wasn't really improving a whole lot. I wasn't having time for music, and I was just kind of like going to work, working out, coaching, and then going home, and that's it. But now whenever I like to make playlists every couple months, and like they almost like become an embodiment of that period, because I don't really use like songs that often, and they're very like specific to me, and I'll even make like a little artwork for them. And so like at the time, like I felt the same way I feel now, but like now listening to that playlist, like it fills me up with nostalgia. And so then it kind of got me thinking about like, can you ever really like enjoy like the current moment? You can have fun, like there's like a thrill, like I don't know, if you're riding a roller coaster, you know, like you're feeling something, or like if you're hanging out with friends, you're feeling something. But then sometimes like you'll have like a great night with your friends, and then the night ends and you're just kind of filled with like, I don't know what to describe it, almost loneliness. I don't even know. But that's different from like currently right now I have very fond feelings towards this moment as I'm recording this video. I don't think I can really say that, but in a couple months I'm sure I'll be like looking back at this time and just being like, damn, I miss sitting in my car and recording that video about liminal spaces, or liminal eras, the fact that I'm so liminal pilled and everything. And I guess that kind of changes my perspective on a lot of things. Like, I think the moment to moment stuff, like I think it's really important to live in the present. And for a long time I was just living like in the past and just constantly stuck there. But I almost try to push myself to move on from that and to start living in the present a little bit more. And it's been nice. Like I feel like I am enjoying a lot more day-to-day things. Like I can just kind of, I've always enjoyed nature, but I can just like enjoy it that much more because I can just like go on one of my hikes and just kind of sit there watching like the trees kind of sway and listening to like the birds and seeing like the ravens fly by and stuff like that. But am I really like having like that fondness like I would later on, like right now when I'm thinking about those moments? I don't really think so. So I think from now on I just gotta like almost thug it out, honestly. I guess indomitable human spirit my way through these liminal eras until that spark comes back, because like it will come back eventually. And it's not like I'm like suffering right now. I'm just kind of, I'm like neutral on life. I'm content in the most neutral of senses. It's almost like just a boring feeling. I think I've gotten used to just like those highs and extremes and like crushing lows. Like it's so over and we're so back cycle, just over and over and over again, that now that different things have been kind of resolved in my mind, I guess, and my emotions, my soul, I'm just kind of just existing for the sake of existing. That paired with like the fact that it's just like one of my low seasons kind of makes it a little bit of a weird feeling that's kind of hard to describe, I guess. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking. Well, if any of this is coherent, it makes any sense to anybody, let me know. But yeah, I think I just wanted to get that out, just kind of talk about my thoughts on just this kind of weird period that I kind of have found myself in. And it's something that's happened a lot. Like, I have super fond memories of COVID times now. Just because my friends' Discord was super alive. Like, we were all in there 24/7, like talking to each other, texting, doing like cam nights and stuff like that. But I was also kind of suffering a little bit just from all the isolation. I've kind of mentioned that before in some other videos. Or like even later, like once that kind of ended, I'll listen to some of the playlists or some of the songs from like some of my rougher times. I'm like, damn, I missed that. That's like, no, motherfucker, get a grip. Okay, you did not miss that. Okay, that was a rough time. You're better now. And I think part of it is just my reliance on music to kind of exist in the current moment. Obviously, well, it's tied to what I was saying, like just nostalgia takes a bit to take a hold of something. Like, I'm very like musically driven, so I have my specific playlists for my specific eras, and currently like the one I've had for right now is something I've listened to a lot, but it still just hasn't had like that specific meaning. Like it's a playlist, but it's not tied to this moment right now because this moment is currently unfolding. It's just hard for me to explain this, I guess. It's almost like I'm trying to say whether a book that isn't written yet is good or not. Like, I fucking love the Game of Thrones series, but can I tell you if Winds of Winter is going to be good or not? Like, probably not, because George R. Martin is never going to finish that, and I'm never going to get to read it, even though I enjoyed the series a lot. So, like, I might be love life and love everything that's kind of coming my way and all the things that I've kind of worked towards lately, but I guess as the present is being written into the past and like the future's kind of unfolding into the present, I'm just kind of chilling for now, just here for the ride is how I got to start thinking about it. Because if I start trying to look at the present through like the past's lens of nostalgia, that's not gonna really work ever. So I think part of it is like I do have to be present, but I just have to be mindful of the fact that like being present is also just kind of the fact that things just are. I don't have to think too deeply on them as I currently am. I don't have to worry about like whether something should feel more fun or not, or whether I should be more creative or not, because sometimes I'm going to be blooming, especially like summertime, going into like August, September-ish. But then like during the winter, I'll kind of shut down a little bit. And it's not like I'm not blooming in every area. Like I said, like my workouts, I'm kind of doing really good on that. There isn't a whole lot to do, so like I'm pretty disciplined on that right now. In the summer, I kind of slip up a little bit, but I'll start like hiking more, doing a lot more creative stuff because there's a lot more happening. So I have a lot more to kind of express through all my different avenues that I like to express things through. And I think that's just something I have to be okay with. So I think that's what I mean by my liminal era. It's just kind of, I'm in a moment where things are happening, and at some point they'll go into nostalgia, and I'll kind of come out of my little creative hibernation, I guess. But if any of that was coherent, let me know. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are, because I do like to hear other people's perspectives on my things, because I don't want to kind of create like these patterns that I guess I've found myself in. I think that's another thing. Like I kind of alluded to it earlier. Like I'm noticing these patterns, but I'm not really learning from them. And I think it's really easy to be able to say that like, oh, this thing keeps happening to me and I wonder why. But if I only have my perspective, I'm just going to get caught in a pattern. Like I have to have an open mind, have to be able to ask other people for help or for their opinion on things. And so I want to hear what all you loyal Doge heads out there are thinking, what you guys are feeling. Let me know what a liminal era feels like or sounds like to you guys, or like what you guys think about what I just said. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time.